In a distant galaxy, the Rainbow Nebula was surrounded by vibrant clouds of colorful gas. Hidden within the nebula was the Peace Academy, a massive space station designed to replicate the environments of various planets from which its students came. Some received training in vast gardens covered with dense forests, while others underwent survival lessons in icy caves. The Academy gathered the most talented young individuals from across the galaxy and trained them as warriors. In the high observation tower known as the Rainbow Spire, Arya stared out through the large glass windows. The tower was a perfect place to watch the stars shining amid the nebula's colorful gases. Arya's deep blue eyes caught sight of a flickering light in the distance. She held her breath for a moment. These lights were not like ordinary stars. Something was different. "Cade, you need to come here right away," Arya said, leaning towards her communication device. Soon, Cade arrived, running up to the tower. "What happened? Why the rush?" he asked. "Look at those lights," Arya pointed at the distant flicker. "This isn't normal. It's some kind of energy fluctuation." Cade quickly pulled out his small device to analyze the lights. The screen of the device started to glow, then a stream of complex data appeared. "This isn't just a regular star flicker," Cade said, his eyes serious. "It's a conscious energy. Something or someone is controlling these waves." Just then, Luna entered the tower. "I felt something," she said, her voice anxious and distant. "This energy, it harbors dark power. It could be a threat to peace." Arya's eyes narrowed. "We need to report this to the instructors immediately," she said. "No," Cade interrupted Arya. "We need more information first. If this is a real threat, we need to be prepared." Arya paused for a moment. "You're right. Then let's continue investigating. But we must be cautious." In the lower level of the Peace Academy, there was an ancient library. This library housed the history of the galaxy and ancient legends. Surrounded by wooden shelves, the library was illuminated by a soft blue light. The walls were covered with old inscriptions written in forgotten languages. The group gathered in the library and began examining the oldest books. "We need to find something here," Ray said, moving between the shelves with his large frame. "If this threat is as big as it seems, there should be traces of it in the past." Luna reached for a book and carefully opened it. "Look at this," she said, flipping through the pages quickly. "It's a prophecy. Shadows of the Dark. It speaks of an ancient power seeking to disrupt the balance of the galaxy." "This is definitely that energy," Cade said, excitedly. "If this prophecy is accurate, we're facing a great danger." "And only we can stop it," Arya said, her eyes shining with determination. "This is our mission. We need to prepare." The group left the library and decided to take action. They were only students, but now they held the fate of the galaxy in their hands. Among the bright colors of the Rainbow Nebula, a dark shadow was growing in the distance. Arya and her friends began to prepare to face this intergalactic threat, ready to unite their strengths and defeat the dark force. An action-packed adventure was about to begin, and in this adventure, success or failure would depend solely on their courage. Arya, Cade, Luna, and Ray gathered in the Peace Academy's special mission room. This room was surrounded by large holographic screens, functioning like a control center where they could observe every corner of the galaxy in real time. Adjacent to the room was a space used for zero-gravity training, and the room itself gleamed with metallic brightness. On the walls hung holographic portraits of the galaxy's most famous warriors, highlighting not only their role as fighters but also as peacekeepers. "Our first goal is to find the source of this energy," Arya said, pointing to a large galactic map in the center of the room. "The energy wave we observed is coming from right here," she said, marking an area far from the Rainbow Nebula on the map. Cade quickly began analyzing the data on the screen. "This area is completely empty," Cade said, narrowing his eyes. "There are no known planets or star systems. Just a void." "Perhaps that's exactly why they're hiding there," Luna said, studying the map closely. "This energy might be hidden deep within the void." Ray clenched his fist tightly and said, "Then we need to go to this void and see what we can find. There might be something waiting for us." Arya made her decision. "Get ready. We're setting out," she said. A few hours later, the team gathered in a small reconnaissance ship that was launched from the Academy's hangar. The ship was a high-speed, highly maneuverable model, specifically designed for galactic travel. The interior was furnished in a minimalist and functional style. Everything had a purpose. As the team settled into their seats, The ship quickly moved away from the Rainbow Nebula and began heading towards the marked area on the map. "We're about to enter hyperspace," Cade said, managing the ship's control panel. "Everyone, fasten your seatbelts." As the ship sped through the stars, it suddenly accelerated, and everything around them vanished, leaving only the emptiness of space. Within seconds, the ship reached their destination. In the void, the screens displayed only darkness. "There's nothing here," Ray said, staring at the screen with frustration. "Luna, can you use your mental connection?" Arya asked. Luna took a deep breath and closed her eyes, trying to sense the surrounding energy with her mind. For a moment, silence reigned. Then suddenly, Luna's eyes flew open with a look of great fear. "There's something here," she said, her voice trembling. "And it's waiting for us." At that moment, a powerful impact was felt on the exterior of the ship. The ship jolted, and red warning lights began flashing on the screens. "We're under attack," Cade shouted, quickly trying to control the ship. "It's from that energy source." Arya assessed the situation swiftly. "Activate the defense shields. Ray, engage the weapon systems," she ordered. The ship began firing rapidly into the surrounding darkness. However, they were being struck by an invisible force, one far stronger than their own. "This isn't going to work," Ray said, pounding on the panel to reinforce the shields. Cade's eyes widened. "This energy is directly trying to disrupt the ship's systems. We could be completely disabled within minutes," he said. "We need to retreat," Arya said, maintaining her composure. "We can't handle this force right now. We need to pull back as quickly as possible." Cade turned the ship around and activated the hyperspace engines to return to the Rainbow Nebula. The ship accelerated away from the darkness. As the warning lights on the screens began to fade, everyone took a deep breath. "What was that?" Ray asked, still in shock. Luna shook her head silently. "I don't know exactly what it was, but it's very powerful and very ancient. We need to be prepared for it." Arya looked at her friends and said, "This is just the beginning. Protecting the galaxy from this threat is our mission. We need to complete our preparations and come back stronger." As the ship sped back towards the Academy, Arya and her team began to think about how they would confront this unknown threat. They were no longer just students. They had to become the warriors needed to save the galaxy. When Arya, Cade, Luna, and Ray returned to the Peace Academy, they were met with a larger-than-expected mobilization. The Academy was buzzing with energetic activity. In the Cosmic Training Hall, hundreds of students were engaged in holographic simulations of battles. The hall was surrounded by a massive dome and had technology capable of simulating every corner of the galaxy. The walls around them displayed realistic depictions of deep space and intergalactic battles. The crystal panels on the floor tracked and analyzed the students' movements. Amidst all these dynamic images, Arya's mind was focused solely on the dark energy they had encountered. "We need to go to the leadership room," Arya said, looking at her friends. "We must inform our instructors about this threat." The group walked quickly through the corridors. The corridors were decorated with themes reflecting the natural environments of various planets. The ice corridor was filled with massive ice crystals and created a sensation of cold wind. The forest corridor was filled with dense foliage and the scents of exotic flowers. Each step offered a different planetary atmosphere. When they entered the leadership room, Commander Theron was waiting for them. Theron was a tall and powerful figure known for his stern expression. Behind him, a detailed holographic map of the galaxy glowed. "What's the situation?" Theron asked, without waiting for the group to speak. "Commander, the energy source we encountered is extremely powerful," Arya said, quickly summarizing the situation. "We need more preparation to deal with it." Theron paused for a moment, then nodded seriously. "We don't know exactly what this energy source is, but it certainly poses a significant threat. We'll strengthen the Academy's defense systems," he said. "Luna's instincts were correct," Cade said, opening a screen showing technical details. "This force affected our ship directly. If we had approached any closer, we could have been completely disabled." "What will we do in this situation?" Ray asked, clenching his fist tightly. Theron turned to Arya. "Arya, you and your team will be sent on a special mission to eliminate this threat. However, you won't be alone this time. A team of the Academy's strongest warriors will join you. This mission could determine the fate of the galaxy, he said. Arya nodded with determination. We're ready, Commander, she replied. Theron pressed a button, and a hidden door opened in the corner of the room. I will direct you to the sacred chamber. There you will find a crystal containing the powers and knowledge of ancient warriors. This crystal will provide you with the information you need to combat the force you're facing, he said. The group entered through the open door. The sacred chamber was mesmerizingly designed. It was covered by a massive dome that seemed to open into the void of space. Stars floated brightly and serenely. In the center of the room, on an ancient stone pedestal, was a glowing blue crystal. The crystal bathed the room in a soft blue light. This crystal was left by the great warriors of thousands of years ago, Luna said as she approached the crystal. Their knowledge and power are contained within it. Arya walked towards the crystal and reached out. The moment she touched it, her eyes suddenly blazed. The room transformed into a dark battlefield. Arya found herself in the midst of a great war that had once occurred. The sky was burning with flames, and planets were being destroyed. The crystal was showing her the visions of an ancient warrior. This is our destiny, Arya said, trying to understand the information conveyed by the crystal. To win this battle, we must unite. We need to discover the power within ourselves. At that moment, the walls of the chamber began to tremble. An alarm started to sound. We're under attack. Cade shouted, quickly analyzing the situation on his computer. Ray drew his sword and looked around. Be ready. There's no escaping this time, he said. The group quickly exited the sacred chamber and headed towards the Academy's defense line. Outside the Academy, a dark energy wave was advancing rapidly. The Shadow of Shadows had found them with unexpected speed. Luna, try to sense the enemy's weak point, Arya said, watching the approaching enemies. Luna closed her eyes and focused on the energy. There, she said after a while, there's a weakness at the center of the waves. If we can strike that point, we can dissipate the energy. Arya immediately sprang into action. Cade, we need to attack that point with all our power. Ray, come with me, we'll support in close combat, she said. Under the bright lights of the Rainbow Nebula, a fierce battle began against the dark force attacking the Academy. The skies lit up with exploding energy waves. Arya and Ray advanced through the dark energy towards the point Luna had indicated. Cade, controlling the ship, targeted the weak point with lasers. Come on, Cade, you can do it. Ray shouted as he reinforced the defense line. Cade made a final maneuver and struck the target. The explosion illuminated the entire space, and the energy wave dissipated, spreading out and vanishing. We did it, Arya said, breathless. However, just then, a larger shadow emerged from within the Rainbow Nebula. This was only a precursor. The real enemy was now coming forth. This time there'll be a challenge, Luna said, her eyes widening in fear. But we're ready. Arya looked at her friends and said, we'll fight to the end. We'll do whatever it takes to protect this galaxy. As the lights of the Rainbow Nebula spun around the warriors, the team, united with the powers of ancient warriors, began preparing for the final great battle. As the dark forces drew closer, the fate of the galaxy was being shaped by these young warriors. In the heart of the Rainbow Nebula, the enormous creature rising from the shadows was the greatest threat to the galaxy. Known as the Void Lord, this being had absorbed the dark energies of space and taken on a massive form. Its presence was dulling the nebula's colors and swallowing the light. As Arya, Cade, Luna, and Ray looked at this gigantic entity, they felt a cold wave of fear inside them. This is much bigger than anything we've faced before, Ray said, gripping his sword tightly. Our mission is to bring light to this darkness, Arya said, keeping her eyes on the Void Lord. We must win this battle. The fate of the galaxy depends on it. The surroundings of the Rainbow Nebula were filled with dazzling streams of energy. Each cloud of the nebula blinked in different colors. As they entered an area where red and blue lights merged, their ship seemed to be swimming in a colorful sea. But this beauty was overshadowed by the looming danger. I've set the ship's shields to maximum, but it will only buy us a little time, Cade said, focusing on the control panel. The Void Lord's energy will test the shields. Luna, where might this creature's weak point be? Arya asked. Luna focused her mind on sensing the Void Lord. Its core, like a dark heart. It draws all its energy from there, Luna said, placing her hand on her chest. We need to hit that spot, but it won't be easy. Arya nodded. Ray and I will attack it in close combat. Cade, you and Luna will provide long-range fire support. We need to reach the heart of this creature, she said. The Void Lord extended its massive arms, absorbing the energy of the stars. As the sky darkened around it, Arya and Ray launched themselves out of the ship. Moving swiftly in the zero-gravity environment, they approached the creature. Arya's sword glowed with starlight, and Ray's weapons cut through the darkness. We're very close, be careful, Arya warned Ray. Just then, the Void Lord unleashed a massive energy wave. Arya and Ray maneuvered quickly to avoid the wave, but it pushed them back. Arya managed to regain her balance at the last moment. Cade, we need fire support immediately. We have to stop that energy wave, Arya shouted. Cade initiated a heavy laser fire from the ship. The lasers were dispersing the energy around the creature, but they were struggling to reach its core. This isn't working, Cade said, seeing the results on the screen. We need to attack with more power. Arya thought for a moment. Ray, distract the creature. I'll try to reach its core, she said. Ray raised his sword and charged at the creature. Trust me, Arya, he said. As the Void Lord focused on Ray's attack, Arya quickly advanced toward its dark heart. Energy currents around the creature tried to block her path. But Arya was determined. She raised her sword high and moved rapidly to reach the creature's heart. At that moment, the Void Lord noticed Arya and attacked her with all its power. Dark energies surrounded Arya, but she dispersed them with her sword. When her sword struck the Void Lord's heart, a massive explosion occurred. Cade now, Arya shouted, making a final thrust with her sword into the creature's heart. Cade focused all the ship's power on a single point and sent a massive energy wave. When this wave hit the creature's core, the Void Lord's body began to tremble. The sky was filled with brilliant lights, and the creature was destroyed in a huge explosion. The nebula regained its colors. The sky was filled with bright lights again. With the Void Lord's destruction, the Rainbow Nebula returned to peace. As Arya floated in space, she took a deep breath. We did it, Luna said with a relieved voice. Ray approached Arya. We couldn't have done it without your courage, Arya, he said. Arya looked at her friends and smiled. This victory is ours. But it might only be the beginning. We have a greater mission to protect the galaxy, she said. Under the lights of the Rainbow Nebula, the team slowly made their way back to the academy, feeling a great sense of responsibility. They were not just warriors but also guardians of peace. And they were determined to do whatever it took to protect the galaxy. I hope you had a good time. If you liked my story, do not forget to comment and subscribe to my channel. Goodbye, see you in the next story.